What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? Thank you for joining me. We're gonna make this a quick demo because I have to get things uploaded for class. I apologize. We had some things that ran over today, and I'm still coming through. We still gonna have class. What I'm going to do is start class at 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock. That way, it allows everyone to have enough time to download the files. Will still be done by 10 because I've done a lot of pre-work to make this something that we can still get our lesson in and won't run us over time. So let me just start by saying hello and see how you all are doing. Hey. So I see I have most of my folks that will be in class tonight. I see y'all in attendance right now. So let me go ahead and go over what we're gonna do to this particular template. I have made it a smart colors template and it should be rather simple to modify, but we're gonna learn a little bit about basically the doing the patterns, the color effects, and all of these things that we're doing as smart colors. You're going to actually learn how to create your own smart color in this class. Okay, so I'm trying to implement these advanced techniques with the simplified templates that give you a really big impact, but you're learning these bits and pieces as we go. All right, so I want to go ahead and start this one off. We're just going to do a quick flip here, and then we'll get to all of the fun things that we'll be able to edit with this template. And first, I'm just going to show you some of the layers here. So you have your bottom accent there, which you can actually turn off or turn on. And I'm going to fade this off a little bit better here because I changed this graphic. Y'all know I can't stand those hard lines, even if I can't see them. So let's turn our bottom accent back on. This is colored with smart colors. You also have the text group, which you'll be able to change the text there. These sprinkles and the drip. So you'll be able to turn the sprinkles off and on if you want. Those are your sprinkles. So you can make this kind of like a, cutesy dessert theme, kind of kids, candy, icing type of theme, or you can make it gooey, oozing lab theme, which is what we're going to flip it to. And then we'll also flip it to like a Halloween type of design as well. All right, so let's get going. Those are my sprinkles. Oh, we also have this little pattern splash area here. And of course, depending on what you want to do, you may or may not turn some of these layers off. And then we have our main image, which for this one, you can bring a photo in if you want to. But I want you to kind of do something a little bit different by bringing in an image into the, like a more of a landscape image or a, an an image that more or less is not a photo, because we can always layer a photo on top of this. I just want you to get the idea that we don't always have to bring photos in. Sometimes we can bring wallpapers in. This is a wallpaper. So for class, what I want you to do is I want you to have a wallpaper to bring in here. And then we're also going to have a wallpaper or background image to bring in here, okay, where the waffle is. And that way we're just adding these layers of design elements, and you know how to make this whatever you want it to be. If you want to make this a donut theme, then, have at it. Let's go ahead and switch these things out. I also want you to create your colors here. Like I said, we're going to create another color here so that you understand how to create smart colors. That's the whole objective of this particular template and course. So let's go ahead and turn on, or just open up. We have our color swatches here. They're already on. You're going to turn those off when you get ready to print, but while we're in our design mode, I want you to keep those on. Now, for this very moment, let me go ahead and save this. I'm going to go ahead and save this as a wallpaper, basically. And I'm just saving this as a JPEG. And this will be my variation number 1. Like I said, I'm going to flip this twice. And make sure that I'm saving as I go along. Another bonus that I've added here for you all is you can barely see it, but I realized with doing my all over pressing that I have just enough space right here to do a sock along with the t-shirt. So I'm just showing you right here without much effort at all. You can go ahead and maybe even throw a little logo or something right there, but you can make matching socks just on the principle of pressing this at the same time that you press the shirt. If you have a large format press, if you have a small format press, or like a 16 by 20 is still considered a small format press, then you would end up cutting this off, and still you would have this printed out on a big print, and you would press it separately. So I have been playing with pressing socks at the same time I'm pressing shirts, and it's been pretty good to me. All right. So now that I have that saved, I'm going to go ahead and bring back my guides because I always like to have them when designing, because I don't want to set myself up for failure by having anything hang outside of my printable area or print safe area. All right, let's go ahead and change out. I'm going to change out the image first. So in this particular case, I have a wallpaper image. I'm going to change it to be like a lab theme, of course, to represent Innate Lab. And I'm just going to drag and drop my image right from my folder on top here. And this is not like a full high resolution image, but I just wanted to give you all an idea quickly for the concept. So we'll close out of this and we'll say yes to update those changes. And now we've got this really cool green theme. Now the thing about it is this layer mask may not work for your existing image, or it just might work. But we're going to delete that layer mask and make our own. So I'm creating a new fresh layer mask. And let's say I want to keep some of the elements here that might have been taken out before. I'm just using my brush here, and we'll do this in class. Using the brush to just fade off part of the image that I don't want to be on here. All right, and I think that does well. The other thing I'm going to do is bring back my swatches, because I'm going to kind of use this image to create some swatches. Right, and right now I have 4 colors, and the fourth color is kind of this background image color, that waffle color. So we're just going to be aware of what colors we're choosing, and in class we will create a new smart color. So in this case, the pink, I'm going to go ahead and load up these colors here with what I want to be my next two or my 2 main colors. I'm thinking maybe this blue and this green. So let's use our color picker. Let's pick one of these bright greens. All right, that's it. And I'm going to hit my flip button here and flip the background and foreground. And then I'm going to pick one of these nice blues. And I think I'm going to end up with the teal blue and like a darker blue. So I'm going to go with the darker blue first because I like that kind of sprite combination. I think that looks pretty cool. So I have those 2 colors built in. But I need to change these main colors. And I have to keep in mind wherever I see, for instance, pink, that will be whatever color I change it to. So I'm thinking where I see the purple is kind of standing out to me the most. I'm going to change the purple to that slime green color. So I'm going to right click, grab my smart color 2. I'm I'm going to double click on it. Double click on the swatch here, and let's change it out to the green. And I just want you to see something here, that you do have an exclamation mark, which means it's probably not going to get that kind of color green. So what happens is the computer will put you closest to that green that it can understand and recognize as probably within your print gamut. So if I go back to this bright green, it's telling me it can't do it, and it's going to force it to the next best green. Which, if you want to manipulate, you can probably get a little bit better result if you manipulate the color yourself. But in this case, I'm just going to go with what it's telling me I can go with. Okay. And that gives us that nice green color. And honestly, it looks brighter than what I would have imagined it from the color swatch. So this looks good. Let's go ahead and change the pink. I'm thinking where the pink is, that's where our, let's see, purple is going to be the green. Then we're going to fade into, we can fade into blue from purple, blue from green. I think that actually would look good. So let's go with our original green color. That's Smart Color 3. We'll duplicate the Smart Color. And I should have duplicated the last one. And that way I'm not just taking over this color. Let's choose the blue here. Update. There we go. So now I'm seeing that cool little sprite combination that kind of makes me happy there. The brown, I think I'm going to either go with a black for the background color or maybe even a gray. Let's see. Before I do that, let me do a dark blue where the pink is. So now I have to choose this color because I don't have it selected. I'm going to grab my color picker tool and let's find us a nice, well, let's do a teal. A bright blue there. I like that. So let's go ahead and change the pink out to that color. So right click, grab our Smart Color 1. Let's duplicate. And change that to our brighter blue color. All right, so now I have 3 colors here. My 4th color is this brown background, and you'll see in a second why the gradient is not falling into place, because that is actually your 5th color. That's what you have over here. All right, let's go ahead and make the background color instead of brown. We'll double click there. I'm going to duplicate that layer. And I'm going to make it a dark gray. Well, obviously I made it more of a mid-tone gray. And the last thing that we're going to do is this background here. We're going to change to not necessarily a background image, but we're going to change it to something like a texture or some other kind of wallpaper. So you have a wallpaper design here, and then you're also going to have a wallpaper design as your background, a little bit of texture. And this is more or less just getting you in the mindset of pretty much designing from scratch. All right, so let's do a little Google search real quick. I'm going to show you what I would do. And let's go to, I'm thinking a texture that I might want. Let's just try diamond plate. Diamond plate, and then I'm going to put grunge because you know I'm all about the grunge. Let's do a cool diamond plate texture. So what you're looking for is something in the background. It may add a little bit of visual interest, but it's not going to be extremely distracting. It's not going to be a whole nother image on top of an image. It's mainly something just to give you a little bit of texture and to have something flat in the background. I even like this one here with the curve design. That's cool. Let me go ahead and change this to where I am looking at only my large size images. And I want to avoid anything that's going to have watermarks in it. Even if I am doing this, for my personal use, I like to make sure that it doesn't have the watermarks in it. So this one's cool. I'm going to right click, open image in a new tab just to see if it really is large scale. And this looks very realistic. I'll save this image as my background. And now I'll have this ready for changing out the background here. So the background is a smart object as well. I'm going to double click on it. And I'll drag and drop my background image from my downloads. If that's indeed where it went. There it goes. So as you can see here, I can literally drag from my folder, drop it right there onto my artboard. You know what? I think I'm going to reduce the size of this because I think this background is particularly large. So let me do image size. You're not going to have to do this. This is like really large. And I don't want it to be that large for you. So let's go ahead and drag and drop just like we were doing before. And I'm going to make sure this takes up the entire space here. There we go. Now I can close out and say yes that I want to update the changes here. And it made it a little smaller because I changed the dimensions of it, but I'm about to make sure that it fits the entire background here. And in this case, I think I do want to go a little bit darker with this gray here. So I'm going to click on that smart color. And then instead of color, I want it to be normal. And I'm going to make it a little bit darker. There we go. That way I can see the texture. And if I want to see a little bit more of it, I can actually go into my background. This may or may not be tileable. And I'll show you what that means in just a moment. If I want the texture smaller. And it doesn't look like this is tileable. Something looks like a little off about this. However, I think I can get away with it if I had to. By fading off one of these edges. And I don't expect you all to do this for class. And I expect you just to find something that you really like and want to work with off rip. And then I'm going to take and rotate that 180 degrees. Let's see if it still makes our pattern. Because I have the dark in the middle, so I can't really go dark to light. And then back to light without transitioning. And then here I am just kind of fading off this middle seam. This is not how I would do this, like if I was really trying to make a repeatable pattern. But I think this works for the background because it's so busy with the rest of the design that you're barely even seeing this background. But I just didn't like how big that diamond plate texture was. So I'm going to take all this and merge it now so it won't be large for no reason. And let's see what that looks like. Much better. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create our gradient off of these colors here. So we'll right click on anything that has a gradient. I'm suggesting you right click here on your swatch. This is Smart Color 5. We are going to make Smart Color 5 from these existing colors here. So let's go ahead and open that up. Just like before, we have a blue and a green already loaded here. So let's go ahead and update that. We're going to double click here. Let's make that our bright blue. Let's update the purple as our slime green. And then in the center, I'm actually going to bring this one to the bottom because I think we're going to change that to this darker blue color here. So I'm going to grab that darker blue one more time. We'll double click, and I'm going to change this last color stop here to that darker blue. And then I will go ahead and save this as a new color swatch here. So if I double click on the gradient, scroll all the way down to the bottom and hit new. Oh, I need to close up that purple folder. I hit new, there I have it. I'll call that my little sprite combination. Yes, we'll save that and let's see it update wherever we had gradients. All right. And then of course, we can turn off the polka dots if you want to. For this particular design, polka dots are not really fitting. So we'll go with the pattern here. And if you already have a pattern saved, for instance, you've done some of the other Academy courses like the Zodiac course, I have those patterns in there. Or if you did the one where we built our own logos, there's the Innate Academy one there. I think I'll use the Innate Academy one. That looks pretty cool. Now, we won't be making a pattern in this class. I'm just letting you know that there are several classes where I teach you how to make a pattern or we implement making patterns. This is just giving you an opportunity to lay that pattern in there in such a way that just kind of adds a additional element of design. Sometimes you want to turn it off because it's too much. Sometimes you want to be extra like me and leave everything on. All right, so that would be that part of the design, and then we would change out the text here. But I'm going to change out the text in just a moment. I will turn off the swatches for the time being so I can save this as a new design, and it was really quick to do that. So we'll go to File, Save As. I'm going to save this as a JPEG. And this would be version number 2. All right, and I'll crank this all the way up to 12 to save this as full resolution. Oh, you know what? I meant to turn the sprinkles off because this isn't really like a sprinkle type of deal. Let me turn the sprinkles off and resave this. There we go. So sprinkles off. Now it looks a little more labby. File, save as. I'll save it as a JPEG and just save over that last one. And if you check here, the socks are pretty much automatically designed. It's just this little rectangle over here. But if you can imagine, the sock is going to have the steel plate at the top and a little bit of the green and the blue. So whatever we're designing, the background is going to automatically give me like a little space to the side where I can just press some socks. And it's automatically going to match what I'm working with because it is a part of my overall theme. And then for instance, if you wanted to put a logo right there, you would just center it right on top of this rectangle and just make sure that it printed center. And when you got ready to press, you would see this little faint rectangle where you can place your sock in there. All right, so one more thing I was gonna do, and that was quickly flip this to, let's say, a horror background and everything. So let's play with that. We'll double click on our image here. And of course, this would be more for your personal use, of course. And this is just an image on Amazon, and I doubt they have the right to use it for personal use either. I mean, for anything other than personal use, but this is just to give you maybe some ideas since it's around Halloween and you might be thinking, what can I possibly work with for this class? So now we have our horror team here, dream team. Let's update that, see what it looks like. All right. And if we were going to fade this off, I think it actually fades off pretty well. It doesn't cut anybody off too bad. I do have my drips or my splashes here with the pattern, and I'll play with that in just a moment. So let's say we wanted to make this thriller inspired. Then we might take the green color, and I'll go ahead and bring everything back for our outline and then our swatches. So maybe now this green color would be red. Let's go ahead and choose a red from the image. So I'm going to choose my color picker. Let's grab a red off of Chucky's hair. That's a good deep red there. And then I'm going to flip and let's choose a secondary color. Might be, maybe that's I think that's a little bit of, it's almost white, but it's really like a gray. And I don't want that to be my secondary color. I think we'll go with another red, but more of a vibrant red. So we have a vibrant red and a dark red. And that's what we'll use kind of like as our ooze. Maybe this will end up looking like blood. Who knows? Let's go ahead and right click on the green swatch here. That's Smart Color 2. We're going to double click on it and change it from the green to the, let's go with the darker red. And let's update that. All right, so already it's starting to look a little gorish, right? Let's go ahead and change our secondary color. So that would be, in this particular design, the lighter blue. We'll take our lighter blue and we will make it the lighter red. Double click that, choose the lighter red color, hit OK, and update that. There we go. And let's go ahead, a contrasting color with the red. I'll say, sticking with the gray and the blacks and things like neutral colors with the red, I think would make the red really pop. So instead of the blue here, that Smart Color 3, let's go ahead and make that either a white or a gray. We'll figure that out in just a moment. Let's make it white, see what happens. Hint, the more white you use in your all over designs, the less time it takes to print, the less ink you use, all of that good stuff. So keep that in mind. And then I'll leave this one here with the black and we'll see how this all pans out, because now we're going to change this gradient. And this time I'm going to do this a little different. I'm actually going to create a gradient while I'm here. I think it would be easier. So let us, Oh, this is what we're doing. So this is how we're creating our own smart color as well. So we're going to create a gradient smart color from the colors that are showing right now in our swatches. So let's go ahead down here. Let's create a gradient. And I'm going to go ahead and choose the basic black to white. Not the black or white to the checkerboard, but black to white. Okay. And then we're going to double click on this and drag it below our other swatches because we want to see the other swatches in order to pick and choose here. So let's double click on this gradient, double click on the gradient again. We have color stop 1 and 2. I'm going to select 1. So I picked here the lighter red, and 2, I'll double click here for this color stop. And I'm going to select the darker red. So that's if we just wanted 2 colors there. And here in this instance, I'm going to add a third color. I'm going to add that dark gray. I'll double click and select the dark gray. I'm not going to do white just because I don't think the white is really going to do much for me. So before I leave here, I'm going to scroll down and hit new so that I save this color swatch because I'm going to need that. And because I saved it, even though I exited out without hitting OK, this is essentially going to be a new smart color. All right, so the way that we make it a smart color, we're going to do this in class. We're going to make a smart color. It's actually going to be a smart gradient. We're going to name it smart color. Let's name this smart color 6. We're going to right click and we're going to convert this to a smart object. All right, and then I'm going to pull this up above here. So smart color 5 is the gradient that we previously created. Now we have a fresh new gradient that we created, and this is going to be our brand new smart color. Well, what I'm going to do in order to make this a swatch is control click on this layer mask so that it selects those active pixels. Then I'm going to pull this down. Well, hold on a second. I'm going to control click on those pixels again. And here, I'm going to make sure that we have the active pixel selected, or the marching ant selected here. And I'm going to alt click and drag. Well, this is not doing what I want it to do. Alt click and drag. Here, we'll do this. We'll alt click and drag. That is doing it to the layer mask. I want it to do here. All right, so on this smart color, I'm going to turn this one off. We just duplicated this little swatch here. On the smart color layer, we're going to create a clipping mask. And you don't really see anything because it's just this one area. However, if I take this one, I'm going to delete this layer mask. And then I'm going to create the layer mask here. Now all of a sudden I see my full range of my gradient. It's because it's going the full length of the image, top to bottom and left to right. So now that I have this new smart color set up, I can apply it anywhere that I want. So anywhere that I see a gradient. And this is what I want to teach you all in class. So y'all always wonder about the smart colors and how they're created. This is exactly what we're doing in class today. Let's go to our gradient fill here. And this is actually the gradient fill for the bottom. I want the sprinkles and drip. So right now it uses Smart Color 5 as a copy. Now here's what I can do. I can do one of two things. If I want to change the smart color everywhere that I see the blue to green, then I just double click here, double click on the gradient, and I choose the gradient that I made up. update that and see how it updates. And it seems like for this one, for my gradient, it looks like I need a little more of the pure red and a little less of the dark red. So I'm going to go back into that gradient and just shift the brighter red up more and the gray kind of a little more out of the picture. All right, so now you see we have a little bit of more of a red theme. We have monochromatic scheme going on. The grays are there. You see the images there. If this were a, a portrait photo, then we would adjust it accordingly and fade that off accordingly. And then, of course, in class, we'll change the text as well. So instead of it saying Innate Lab, you can make it whatever text you want. So I'll go to the word innate. I will group that text and just call it Innate Lab. And then I'm going to duplicate this group because I'm going to leave my Innate Lab there. And of course, you probably want to change it to something that's fitting for your project. And maybe you want to use all of the text, some of the text. I would go with the one that is about the size of what you want to say. So instead of innate here, I'll put squad. And then maybe instead of lab, we'll put goals. And because my text is hanging outside of the smart color area, I'll do Control T. Make sure that it's going to fit inside of my printable or print safe area. And then I would actually turn off this layer. You may have a motto or something you want to put down there, but we'll just turn it off. And now all of a sudden we have a totally different design, totally different theme, but it works. Oh, and if you wanted to change this background, see, do I have anything I want to change it to? Let's see here. This little spooky pumpkin background doesn't really fit the theme, but it kind of does. It looks spooky. We'll just take the pumpkins out. And like I said, you rarely see what's actually in the background. It just gives you something interesting. So you see that? Instead of the diamond plate there, now we have like a spooky background. All right, so I'm going to take off the smart color that we made because y'all are going to make your own smart color. So we're going to start with 1 through 5, and then you'll end up making smart color 6 and implementing that tonight. So let me turn off my swatches and my guides here. I'm cleaning this up, making sure it's good for you all. And I'll go ahead and upload this one for class. Save this as a JPEG. And this will be version number 3. And of course, I'll have the mock-up in there too. All right, so we have an entirely different design here. And we'll do a file and, well, we already saved as, but I want to go ahead and save this whole Photoshop file. And then you all can watch me do the mock-up of this real quick. And of course, if I ever create a mock-up for I think 120 and beyond, I started giving you all my mock-up files for free with the course. So then that way you have no excuse. You apply it to the mock-up. It requires maybe 3 different double clicks, and you should be able to make that mock-up file your own. So let's go ahead. Let's do the 148 mock-up and save it as 149 because I believe 148 had 3 images. And the same way I'm doing this is exactly how you would do your mock-ups. Usually it's even going to be less steps than this because I'm changing something for you. Now, one of these I can do as a 13 by 19 just to show you how that would look. So let me take my layer mask here. Let's do Control T, and it's already in the proportions of a 13 by 19. But what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that it's going to fit and not take off anything important that I want. And in this case, usually for my 13 by 19s, I'm also, going to restructure it. So maybe I'll put the text up higher or move some of the background because it's a little bit longer design. But this should work out to take the sprinkles and drip, the pattern splash, bottom accent, all of this good stuff. We're just going to go ahead and group it. And then we're going to select the current pixels here. So I held down Control, select those pixels. Let's go ahead and make that a layer mask for you. There we go. And instantly, that is a 13 by 19 design. Take off that background and we would save that as a PNG. And of course, you could do this as an oversized graphic. You can imagine this doing as a 2-tile sheet. For almost any size shirt would look really substantial, and it would save a lot of ink because you're not worried about printing all over the sleeves. Thanks, Corey. I haven't even been looking at the comments. I'm trying to get through this so I can get y'all this content up for tonight. So I apologize if I seem a little neglectful this evening. All right, I apologize, but I know y'all love me and y'all accept me for who I am. All right, so that's saved now. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the layer mask off because I want to see my all over. So I'm gonna disable that layer mask. There we go. And I'll go ahead and turn this back on. So this is what you see when you download the file. Now, if you have a sneaker or something, feel free to bring something like a sneaker in for inspiration. That's what the original image was. And then let me go into I'm going to call this group art. That's all the art. We'll open this up and I'll go into my text group and I'm going to change, instead of it saying Innate Lab copy, let's call this squad goals. And maybe you want to make this a squad goal shirt. Who knows? All right, so I am saving. And let's see what the sock would look like. I didn't even pay attention to what the sock would look like for this one. Oh yeah, that would be cool. So it has like a little bit of that gray background there, and then it'll have the little blood splash, the white, and of course it has a black toe. That would be the perfect coordinating look without looking way too coordinated. All right, so let's turn We'll keep a little sock layer on so it will remind you all to do a sock layer. Let's turn on our swatches so you'll see that when you first open up. And there we go. Now I'm going to switch this back to the lab color theme. Okay, so when you open it, that's what you will see. So let's do that real quickly. My smart color 1. Well, you know what? I'll keep it as this because we're going to change the colors in class and change all the content. So let me go ahead and save. Let's do our mock-up. We have all over here. We're going to double click, drag and drop our image from our 149 folder. All right, and in order to make this work, we need to right click and flatten the image. Now we can update the smart object. And you notice that that little sock area right there is not going to affect anything because it will be on the non-printed part of the t-shirt there. All right, so there's one. And then let's go ahead and do 2. And of course, we're going to right click and flatten the image. Hey Corey, I know the Halloween and spooky stuff is your thing, so I expect you to do your thing tonight. All right, let's take the 13 by 19. So I could do the 13 by 19 version, and I'll go ahead and update both just so you see how this works. So I'm gonna take my 13 by 19 here, and I'm just gonna drag it to where it actually fits on here because I didn't actually crop it down to a 13 by 19 ahead of time. But this is still gonna work. Oops, I did not mean to rotate. So I like the 13 by 19 version, but I really like the all over version. So again, I'm going to turn that one off. Let's go ahead and merge that down or flatten the image. I can say yes to update this. There's our squad goals there, but if I want to choose the all over version of this, I'm going to turn off the 13 by 19, double click, and bring about our all over version of the spooky version of this file. So we got a chance to see how you can use the drip. The drip is, you know, kind of a trendy term right now too. So you don't need a reason to use drip. Drip is its own theme right about now. So definitely keep that in mind when, you know, you're designing for your different age groups and different applications. So this might be something cool to do even for football, you know, or just sports in general. The kids are really into whatever the trends are, and I'm sure they can give you their input and help you make a really, you know, favorable design. All right, so this is 149. This is a smart color template, and this is all we need to go. So let's go ahead and export this. I'm going to save it for web. And this will be in our 149. And like I said, you'll have this mock-up file as well. And whichever one you want to You can switch it out. You can do the 13 by 19 or the all overs. So I'm just choosing because I like the drip and I like that it looks kind of 3D and coming off the edge of the shirt. I'm going to keep all of these all over designs. But just know that almost anytime I do an all over design, I also show you how to make a 13 by 19 version of it. All right, let's save that, close it down, and I'll go ahead and get this thing uploaded for you all. So are we on one? No, this is 149, love. Unless, like, tell me something. All right, so 150, that's a big deal. We got to do something for the 50th class. I think that's a big deal. 50 classes? Oh, we are doing something major for the 50th class. We're doing a mega mock-up package. So y'all look out for that one. It's going to have t-shirts, tumblers, whatever y'all picked as the top things you would want. It's part of the mega mock-up bundle. We're going to do that, and then I want you all to use that for your banners for your store, to create price lists and all that good stuff. All right, so let me go ahead and create this class because y'all are going to be anxiously waiting on me. Blame it on TikTok. All right, my love. So I will see y'all in class in just a little bit. If you need help, please reach out to Erica Kane if you have any questions. She can also help you with any questions that you have about the Academy. We also have coaches that can help you. I no longer have the resources and the time to do one-on-ones, but I do have coaches who I am very, very positive can help you all if you need one-on-ones. And their prices are very reasonable for their hourly rates as far as helping you all. So make sure that you're looking in the Innate Creators Facebook group, and I have all the coaches listed in one of our posts. And you can also see what the coaches have done and what they're into, and catch them on Coaches Corners live. So I bring them on my live sometimes so that we can do projects together. All right. So I hate to rush, but I'm already late. You know, I love y'all. I appreciate you dearly. And until next time, bye.